Have you ever noticed how climbing stairs suddenly feels more challenging than it used to? Or that moment when rising from your favorite chair requires just a bit more effort than you remember? Most people assume this gradual decline in leg strength is simply an inevitable part of aging, something we must accept as the years pass. But what if I told you this common assumption is fundamentally wrong? Recent breakthrough research has unveiled something remarkable. The decline in leg strength many experience isn't primarily about age at all. It's about a specific type of communication breakdown happening at the cellular level, one that can be repaired and restored much faster than conventional wisdom suggests, often within as little as 12 hours. This discovery isn't just about walking more easily or preventing falls, though those benefits alone would be significant. This is about something far more fundamental: your independence, your confidence, and ultimately your capacity to live life fully on your own terms. When leg strength improves, everything changes, from basic daily activities to the adventures and experiences that make life meaningful and enjoyable. For decades, the medical establishment operated under the assumption that muscle decline was primarily atrophy, the gradual wasting away of unused tissue. But neuroscience research has revealed a much more hopeful reality. Much of the muscle capacity you believe you've lost as you've aged isn't actually gone, it's just disconnected. The neural pathways that carry signals from your brain to your muscles have weakened, creating a communication gap. Starting around age 40, the motor neurons connecting your brain and spinal cord to your leg muscles begin to degrade or lose efficiency. This disconnect leads to reduced electrical signaling, meaning muscles don't fully receive the message to contract. They're still physically present, but they're essentially offline. One groundbreaking study from the University of Calgary found that adults with declining leg strength still retained the structural potential for full muscle activity. The issue wasn't muscle death, it was neuromuscular signaling. Have you ever stood up after sitting and felt momentarily unstable for no apparent reason? Or noticed your legs fatigue faster than they used to, even without changing your routine? That's not simply aging. That's a neural communication breakdown. And the exciting news is that there's a clear, science-backed way to repair it. Your spinal cord acts as the essential relay station for movement commands, and it depends on specific nutrients to maintain signal quality. Think of your leg muscles as skilled workers and your nervous system as the foreman giving instructions. If the foreman's voice becomes weak, performance drops, but strengthen that voice, and the team quickly returns to full productivity. One of the most powerful ways to restore this connection involves fueling the neuromuscular junction, where nerves meet muscles, with key nutrients that rebuild communication pathways. This is where specific dietary components become crucial. When you consume certain foods, you're not just feeding your muscles. You're literally rebuilding the communication network that activates them. The moment you eat, your body begins scanning for molecular signals that tell your cells what to do next. One of the most powerful signals is leucine, an essential amino acid that serves as what scientists call an anabolic trigger. Leucine directly activates a cellular pathway known as mTOR, mammalian target of rapamycin, which functions as the control tower for muscle protein synthesis. Think of mTOR as the internal switch that turns on your body's ability to build or repair muscle tissue, and leucine as the finger that flips that switch. A landmark study in the Journal of Nutrition demonstrated that a single leucine-rich meal could significantly increase mTOR activity and stimulate muscle protein synthesis, even in older adults. This is critical because as we age, our muscles become more resistant to anabolic signals. But leucine can override that resistance within hours. Many people unknowingly consume just enough protein to prevent further muscle breakdown, but not enough leucine to stimulate new growth. This is why the quality and timing of protein matters tremendously. Animal proteins like eggs, beef, chicken, and particularly whey protein contain the highest amounts of leucine, just 2.5 to 3 grams, found in about 25 to 30 grams of high-quality protein, is enough to trigger mTOR and switch on muscle repair. Beyond protein quality, there's another critical component to this equation. When your brain decides to initiate movement, standing up, taking a step, climbing stairs, that intention gets translated into a chemical messenger called acetylcholine. This neurotransmitter is responsible for neuromuscular transmission, the precise process by which a signal in your brain becomes physical movement. Without enough acetylcholine, muscles don't fire properly. They misfire, delay, or simply fail to respond. Studies show that acetylcholine production and receptor sensitivity both decline with age, especially in the motor neurons connected to the legs. This explains why even small lapses in balance or delayed muscle response become more common as we get older. What's fascinating is that the precursor to acetylcholine, choline, can rapidly restore this signaling capacity. A comprehensive review published in Nutrients highlighted that increasing dietary choline can boost acetylcholine synthesis in as little as 6 to 12 hours, especially when the brain is actively demanding motor coordination. The richest natural source of choline is egg yolks, with 2 whole eggs delivering over 300 milligrams of choline that your body converts into acetylcholine. This isn't just nutritional theory, it's a functional protocol that explains why many people notice more confident, stable steps after a breakfast that includes eggs. Now let's discuss another crucial element that profoundly affects leg strength but is rarely addressed: blood flow. Imagine trying to water a garden with a partially kinked hose. No matter how fertile the soil or how much sunlight is available, the plants will struggle without adequate water. This perfectly illustrates what happens in your leg muscles when circulation becomes restricted. As we age, the arteries and capillaries supplying our lower limbs often become narrower and less responsive. This impairs oxygen delivery, nutrient transport, and waste removal, 3 foundations of muscle performance and recovery. The result is legs that feel heavy, tired, or slow to respond, even with adequate protein and exercise. The key molecule regulating blood vessel dilation is nitric oxide, a naturally produced gas in your endothelial cells that signals blood vessels to widen, allowing more blood to flow. What's remarkable is that nitric oxide production is highly dependent on what you eat, and one of the most powerful natural boosters is beetroot. Beets contain dietary nitrates, which your body converts into nitric oxide through a 2-step process. A fascinating study in the Journal of Applied Physiology demonstrated that older adults who consumed beetroot juice experienced significant improvement in leg muscle power within just hours of intake, particularly in fast-twitch muscle fibers, essential for balance and preventing falls. These improvements weren't marginal. They were measurable in real-world movement tests, walking speed, chair stand tests, and stair climbing ability all showed enhancement. Drinking just 250 to 300 milliliters of beetroot juice about 90 minutes before any physical activity allows the nitrates time to convert into nitric oxide and begin enhancing blood flow precisely when you need it most. While some people express concern about the sugar content in beets, the glycemic load is relatively low, and the performance benefit far outweighs any blood sugar concerns, particularly when consumed before activity. You can also pair beetroot with protein or fiber-rich greens to buffer absorption if you're particularly sensitive to sugars. There's another silent saboteur of leg strength that most people never consider: chronic inflammation. Unlike the obvious inflammation that occurs after an injury, chronic inflammation is subtle, systemic, and persistent. Over time, it slowly erodes muscle function, especially in the legs, even when everything else seems to be in order. A comprehensive 2020 study published in the journals of gerontology found that elevated levels of inflammatory markers, particularly C-reactive protein, CRP, and interleukin-6, IL-6, were strongly associated with reduced muscle mass and strength in older adults, even when their physical activity and nutrition seemed adequate. Inflammation interferes with muscle protein synthesis, increases oxidative stress, and disrupts mitochondrial function, the cellular power plants that energize your muscle contractions. It also affects your nervous system's ability to efficiently recruit muscle fibers, meaning even if the muscle tissue is present, the signal to activate it becomes weaker. One of the most powerful tools for reducing this chronic inflammatory state isn't found in the supplement aisle. It's found in your produce drawer. Dark leafy greens like spinach, kale, arugula, chard, and mustard greens aren't just nutrient-dense. They're anti-inflammatory powerhouses. They contain high levels of polyphenols, chlorophyll, magnesium, and nitrate compounds that directly combat inflammation at the cellular level. In particular, the polyphenol quercetin found abundantly in kale and mustard greens has been shown to directly inhibit inflammatory cytokines, like IL-6 and TNF-alpha. A 2019 review in Frontiers in Pharmacology reported that regular intake of quercetin-rich foods can reduce inflammation markers within just 2 to 4 weeks, especially when combined with moderate movement. Including 1 packed cup of dark leafy greens with your first meal of the day helps set your body's inflammatory regulation tone for the entire day. Combining them with healthy fats like olive oil or avocado enhances absorption of fat-soluble antioxidants like vitamin K and beta-carotene. Adding a squeeze of lemon or apple cider vinegar further improves digestion and nutrient uptake. While these anti-inflammatory foods don't work like immediate pain relievers, their effect builds systematically over time. Often, in as little as 10 to 14 days, many people notice less soreness, faster recovery, more stable energy levels, and a renewed feeling of strength in their legs. This is nutrition functioning not just as fuel, but as a regulatory signal, telling your immune system to power down unnecessary inflammatory responses. When it comes to rebuilding leg strength, what you eat is only half the equation. It may be equally important, especially as we age. Every time you consume a protein-containing meal, you trigger muscle protein synthesis, MPS, the biological process by which your body repairs and builds new muscle tissue. But as we get older, that signal weakens due to anabolic resistance, where muscles become less responsive to dietary protein. So even if you're eating enough protein overall, if the timing is suboptimal, your body might not fully utilize it for muscle maintenance. Research shows that distributing protein-rich meals evenly throughout the day, starting with breakfast, significantly improves muscle maintenance and growth, especially in the lower body. A groundbreaking study from the University of Texas found that people who consumed roughly equal amounts of protein at breakfast, lunch, and dinner had 25% higher muscle protein synthesis rates than those who ate the majority of their protein at dinner. This occurred because each meal acted as a separate stimulus for muscle growth, keeping the anabolic signal strong throughout the day rather than concentrated in a single spike. Eating within 30 to 60 minutes after light exercise or walking further enhances this effect, particularly in older adults. This period, known as the anabolic window, represents a time when muscle cells are most sensitive to nutrients and can rapidly uptake amino acids to rebuild tissue. A practical approach is to aim for 25 to 30 grams of high-quality protein at your first meal of the day, perhaps 3 eggs with sautéed spinach and lentils, or Greek yogurt with hemp seeds and berries. After any physical activity, even a simple walk, consume a meal or snack that combines protein and complex carbohydrates within an hour to take advantage of enhanced nutrient absorption. While it's common practice to save the largest, most protein-rich meal for dinner, research shows your muscles can only synthesize a limited amount of protein at one time, usually around 30 to 40 grams. Beyond that threshold, excess protein is either oxidized for energy or stored. By optimizing your meal timing and distribution, you're effectively communicating with your body, telling it to stay strong, active, and vital throughout the entire day. The gut-muscle connection represents another fascinating piece of this puzzle that scientists are just beginning to fully understand. Your digestive system doesn't just process food, it's actively involved in metabolic signaling that affects muscle function. The trillions of bacteria in your gut influence how nutrients are absorbed and utilized, and they help regulate inflammatory responses that impact muscle health. Beneficial gut bacteria enhance the conversion of dietary nitrates into nitric oxide, amplifying blood flow benefits. They also play a role in neutralizing inflammatory compounds that would otherwise interfere with muscle signaling. This explains why many people with digestive issues often notice parallel declines in muscle strength. The problems are physiologically connected through multiple pathways. With all of this scientific information, what matters most is how you can put this knowledge into practice immediately. Here's a comprehensive protocol that integrates everything discussed. Start your morning with a small glass of beetroot juice or a beetroot-based smoothie. Add a source of high-quality protein and include a handful of dark leafy greens. Go for a 15-minute gentle walk immediately afterward. This combination primes your blood vessels, triggers nitric oxide release, and initiates muscle signaling all at once. Within 30 to 60 minutes of returning home, have a protein-rich breakfast that includes eggs for choline and additional protein sources that provide leucine. Include anti-inflammatory spices like turmeric, ginger, or cinnamon for added benefit and flavor. Throughout the day, aim for balanced meals with moderate protein portions, 25 to 30 grams, plenty of colorful vegetables, and healthy fats. Stay well hydrated, as even mild dehydration can significantly impact muscle contractility and nerve signal transmission. Before bed, consider a small protein-rich snack like cottage cheese or Greek yogurt with berries. This provides a slow-release source of amino acids that can support muscle maintenance during the overnight fasting period, when muscle breakdown typically accelerates. This approach isn't about dramatic overnight transformation, but many people report feeling noticeable differences within the first 24 to 48 hours. better stability when standing, more fluid movements, and gradually increasing energy levels. These initial improvements often motivate continued adherence, leading to compounding benefits over time. What makes this strategy particularly effective is that it addresses multiple physiological pathways simultaneously: neural signaling, blood flow, inflammation, protein synthesis, and metabolic regulation. You're essentially giving your body everything it needs to rebuild connections and restore function that may have been gradually declining for years. Remember that some movement is still essential. Nutrition creates the foundation for strength, but using your muscles tells your body they're worth maintaining. Even gentle activities like walking, water exercises, or basic resistance movements with household items can significantly amplify the benefits of the nutritional strategy we've discussed. It's worth emphasizing that these evidence-based strategies can complement traditional approaches to muscle health and often provide benefits where medication alone falls short. The food-first approach has virtually no side effects, only side benefits: improved digestion, better cognitive function, enhanced mood, and more stable energy throughout the day. As we age, maintaining functional strength isn't just about longevity. It's about quality of life. Being able to move confidently, independently, and without pain is fundamental to enjoying each day. The strategies shared here are accessible to virtually everyone, requiring no special equipment or expensive supplements. Just thoughtful choices about everyday foods that most people already have in their kitchens. The scientific evidence is clear and compelling. Even small interventions, a single nutrient, a short walk, a well-timed meal, can produce measurable changes in how your body performs and how you feel, especially in your legs, which are not just your foundation for movement, but also a mirror of your overall metabolic health. As you apply these principles day by day, you'll likely notice something profound happening. Not just stronger legs, but a renewed sense of capability. That feeling of confidence as you move through the world changes how you interact with others, what activities you're willing to try, and ultimately, how you see yourself and your possibilities. I encourage you to try this approach for just 1 week. Notice what changes, pay attention to how your body responds, and adjust according to your individual needs and preferences. Our bodies are remarkably responsive when given the right inputs, and the feedback they provide is worth listening to attentively. This information represents a synthesis of cutting-edge research in neuromuscular science, nutritional biochemistry, and aging physiology. By understanding and applying these principles, you can reclaim the strength, stability, and confidence that make every day worth living fully. Here's to your health, your independence, and your vibrant future.